Now then, here we are, me and the mutt. He's just chilling out under the table here, and we're in my shipping container on a grey, cloudy day, and it's pretty chilly out there as well. So what I thought I'd do for you guys today is show you some products that I've got and also answer your questions. So on Instagram, I asked you guys just to send me some questions, and I said that I'd answer anything. So I have had a massive response, so thank you very much for that, and hopefully I'll get through as many as possible. If I don't get to your question, I do apologise now. So firstly, we've got some products to sort of have a good look at, and the first one is the FENIX head torch, which is the HP25R. I've had this about 3 or 4 weeks and used it a few times, and it has been working well so far. Secondly, we have the Ecoflow River Mini battery pack, and I've had this for about 4 months, and this has come in handy on several occasions, and it's actually saved me on one occasion. And finally, we have the Opalus 3 tent by NATUREHIKE, and this is a bigger tent than my other 2-man tents because I've had a few complaints about the size of my 2-man tents, so I'm hoping this will do the trick and keep certain people happy. You know who you are. So yes, from here we're going to go out and pitch this tent first job, and then we'll come back in and answer your questions. But in the meantime, please give this video a thumbs up. It really does make a difference just to sort of push your videos further up in the YouTube domain, just to sort of get seen by more people. And I really do need it. For me to carry on doing what I'm doing, I need more people to sort of help me out with the channel, because currently I am bleeding. I am not surviving. So any help will definitely be appreciated massively. So just by doing that, costs you nothing, we'll be helping the channel. So at least help me with that. Right, let's get out then. We'll go see this dog as well. You ready, Blue? Come on then. So here we are, the NATUREHIKE Opalus 3 tent. Size wise, it is not too bad really. I think it would strap nicely to the bottom of the bag externally, and without the poles I think it would compress quite well into a bag. So let's get it out and have a look, see what we're dealing with. First of all, we have got some instructions which are attached to the bag. Those will soon get cut off for me. I'll pull this out. So we've got a set of poles, a mat, so it actually comes with a decent mat to put down first probably, and some pegs, and then the main tent itself. So I'm guessing it's inner and outer all in one. We'll pull this out and have a look. Velcro strap that we don't need. Love the colour of it. And I love getting new tents. It's always exciting. Some pretty decent solid pegs here as well. You can see that. Just like a Y-shaped peg. Aluminium, lightweight. Feel pretty good. Just throwing a couple of pegs in. Oh, it's just starting to rain. So there's 3 poles here. We've got a blue one which goes in the blue sleeve there, another blue one, oh there we go, that goes in that sleeve, and then this silver one goes in the middle. So it's colour coordinated, which is good. So like with most tunnel tents, pin one end down and you pull it out from that point. And and pin the other side out. Well, in a basic fashion, it's there. 2 pegs at that side. I've actually put 2 on those poles as well, and 2 at that side, and that's it, and it's up. So now it's just a case of going around and adding a few more pegs. It is monstrous. It's absolutely massive. Let's just pop a peg or 2 in. Don't even need it really. Look at that. I am impressed that that comes out of that small pack size. So a quick wander round. We have got an air vent either side, as you can see, with a bit of harder material just to sort of hold that open. Potentially would blow a bit flat that, but it does look good enough, I would say. Plenty of peg out points. Let's just hold this fly sheet out, and these ones on the corners you can cinch up just to make it a little bit tighter. We've got on each of the poles, so there's 3 poles, there's 6 points here where we can attach a guy line, which we'll just pull out and obviously make sure that this is nice and solid in the wind. And if you can see here, we've got some straps, which is just a way of holding it all square. But that is just awesome, absolutely awesome. I can't wait to get this thing out. We've got a door either side as well, which I always like, and tents just have 2 doors, because then if the wind's blowing one way when you go to bed and then in the morning it's a different way, then obviously you can change it to sort of suit to do your cooking and things like that. But anyway, let's get in, and my main thing is I want to see if I can fit a bike in this, because this would be an absolutely awesome tent for adventuring as a base, and then from there you can go off and do whatever you want to do. No messing about then. Let's see if it'll fit a bike in. So this is a standard sort of road bike, although I've got this set up as a fixie. Let's shove it in. Wow, that is just impressive. All right, let's get in it and see what we're dealing with. This is the exciting bit, isn't it? Just sitting in that tent for the first time. But this is honestly huge. I've got my bike here, shoved up against that side, totally out of the way and not bothering me at all. I am still sat in here, I've got loads of headroom. You know, you could have your backpack in here, no problem. You could put another bike on top of that one and still acres of space. So the bottom of this is sort of solid panels all the way around, so at least that'll just sort of keep the drafts out low level, and obviously if it's snowing or anything and blowing up, it'll actually stop a bit of that. So we'll undo this. That goes all the way around. Oh look, it's got a tuck-in point as well, which is good, so you're not having to faff about. Shove that into a pocket. And then yes, all the mesh on the top just allows a hell of a lot of airflow, so hopefully it'll reduce condensation massively. And then, hey Bluey, hello, there's a good lad. Hey. He's just running around out there like crazy. So yes, me at 6 foot tall, plenty of length in this. You'd definitely be able to fit 3 decent sized mats in here. And to be fair, I turn myself around this way, I could sleep sideways. If you were any shorter than me, you could definitely sleep sideways. So yeah, just massive, absolutely massive. What have we got? Here we've got a hook system. So we've got one hook there and one at this side. and that just allows this whole end to be rolled up out of the way. You can bring that fly sheet up and off, and then you've still got this bug net inside, which will just keep you away from all those nasties that potentially might bite in the night, but you can have the airflow coming through on those hot summer days when you're guaranteed no rain. Hey Bluey, what do you think to your new home? We'll have to test it out properly soon, won't we, eh? Go on then, get on. Go on. Anyway, we have a pocket at this side here, which is absolutely identical to the one that's behind you, and just enough to put your sort of phone in at night, maybe a torch, something like that. And the tent itself is completely symmetrical down this centre, barring this little door here. We've got a central hook here for a light, which is pretty good because obviously you can brighten up everything around the whole place. But I think I would have preferred to have one just up on this point here as well, because that is potentially a place where you're going to be sort of cooking, and it'd be nice just to drop a bit of light on there. This porch area for me though is by far the best feature on this tent, just because it is huge. I mean, just the fact that I can have bikes in there, the dog, all the kit, cook in there, it just allows it to be a brilliant base to work from, especially if you're out adventuring from like a campsite, or you're out as a family, because you can use this as the main storage tent. Kids can be in another tent out there, and it's light enough to carry onto a mountain for 2 people, definitely. Go on then. Where are you going? This way. Well, we're back in now after it started raining, so the tent is wet and it needs fully drying out, but that is just part and parcel of camping. But first impressions of that tent are pretty awesome. It is going to be a brilliant tent for 2 people, definitely for a small family, and I'm going to take it out solo camping, just me and the dog. And what I might do is, if I go out with some other people, I might use that as the party tent where we can all sort of gather in and sit in there, because you could quite easily sit 6 people in there with that porch area as well. So yes, I will be using it definitely soon. So next up then, we have got the Ecoflow River Mini battery pack. So this is great just as a way of having an office away from home. It is a 210 watt hour capacity, so this will just sort of keep your laptop running, iPad, phones, any sort of battery charging at all really. And the good thing about it is it's actually got on the end there just your normal plug sockets. It has a 300 watt sort of output from that socket, which is great because obviously that will allow you to sort of power quite a lot of things. And it's got 600 watt surcharge. It comes with 3 USB ports there, so obviously just great for plugging everything you need. And there is a 12 volt port at the front, and this is the port that saved me. I was away from home, I got a flat tyre, not totally flat but pretty podgy and not very good for driving safely on a road, so I plugged in my pump, my 12 volt pump from my car into this, and just got this running, pumped my tyre up, and then I was on my way. So pretty good, because it just is a useful thing just to sort of chuck in the car for that. We have got an input which is for the main 240 volt power there, and it will charge up in pretty much an hour. It'll do most of it in an hour, I think. There's also a solar charger there which is a 100 watt input, and that panel down there is a 100 watt solar panel, so obviously you can use the solar panel for sort of charging this up as well, which is great. So we'll turn the screen on with this button. So if you look there, let me just check you're still watching. And there we can see, very simple sort of screen. It's got your input and output in watts, and then we've got a percentage in the middle there of the capacity that's left on the battery, and then that's how many hours that it will last for and the output that you are using. So currently it's 41 hours because there's no output. As soon as you plug something in, obviously that will drop down and the capacity will lower. It's got a inbuilt fan so it doesn't overheat as well, which is good. A great portable battery to keep your life running when you're away from home. Stick it in the car. If you were travelling, doing the van life thing, it'd be a great little addition to your battery setup that you've got. Obviously this can be taken into a bed and breakfast, so if you're just spending the night somewhere, sneak it in, charge it up, use their power, and then at least it'll give you an extra little bit for the next couple of days that you're on the road. Give it to your teenagers if you're on a camping holiday, because obviously this will just keep their lifeline alive, which is their mobile phones, because they will actually die without them. And yeah, just overall, just a brilliant bit of kit, and it's small enough just to shove in a bag, in a satchel, something like that, and yeah, keep you going. Next up we have the head torch by FENIX, which is the HP25R. Now this has got a big battery pack on the back here, which just allows you to have a long capacity battery in there, which is great because obviously if you're out and about for a few days it will last you for a longer period of time. On the front we have got 3 LEDs, and if you look here, can you just see that little shroud section there? That just allows you to not press the buttons and turn it on in your bag. So you have to actually flick it forward before you can actually press the buttons, which I think is a pretty good idea, because sometimes I have been to a head torch in the past and it's been dead because it's gone on in my bag. So look at the LEDs themselves. If I click this one on first, press and hold, and you can see it comes on with a sort of general flood, which is great if you're just going to use it round camp, just for doing odds and ends in your tent. But obviously it gets a lot brighter if you need it. On the 4th click it will turn to the red LED, which is great if you are in the woods and doing some sort of stealth camping and you don't want to be seen, because you can't see a red light from very far at all. So it's a great way of just sort of keeping yourself hidden. And obviously press it again, we have one more, which is just the flashing red. So if I turn that off, it has a memory as well, so it will go back to the one you've just been on. So I'll click that on and it's still on flashing red. Turn it off there, it will come back on there. Onto the main beam, if I just hold this on, you can see we have got quite a bright LED, and that's on the lowest setting. If I just cycle through, I'm not even pointing this directly at the camera either. And one more, that's the turbo one there, which is just complete whiteout. So yeah, super bright. And obviously that is just great if you need to sort of find your way in the dark, or you're on search and rescue or something like that, and you need to be able to shine a beam into the distance. So yeah, it's not quite dark enough to show you this properly, so what I'm going to do is take you to future Al, who will show you this in action outside. So are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Well, currently I'm out in the woods and it is completely persisting it down. So a quick look at what this torch can do. This is the lowest setting, so if we just show you into the distance, you can see a tree there. A little bit more, but let's just go up one. So straight away that brightens it up a hell of a lot more. But again, crank up another level, and there we are, beautiful blue in the distance. And that is not it, it can go further, so let's just have a look. Wow, so you can see all the way down there, that's a good 100 meters I would say, in wet horrible weather. So it's quite a concentrated beam I would say. If you can see that central section, it's quite bright, and then outside of that you've got a larger circumference of just a more of a floodlight. So close up, yeah, you can see that, can't you, how tight and concentrated that is. Horrible conditions out here, but it's all I can do at the minute. I'll definitely get out and test this torch properly again. Obviously the full beam is absolutely solid, is that you can see for such a long way, so great to use that. And then if I turn this one off, let's pop on that red one. So if you want to be stealth, you can just sort of see the bits that you need to do in front of you, so that's obviously good if you're just in camp and just need to not blind your fellow campers. But turn on that beam and then you can see everything going. Get on then, blue, get on. Well, it's one of those horribly lovely nights where you've just got to get out in it, especially if you're a dog owner, because your dog needs the exercise. So here I am in the woods, getting absolutely sodden. Just look at my jacket. Luckily it's got a bit of a DWR coating on, so it can take a little bit of water, but I do need to get back and get it all dried. Anyway, let's take you back to past Al, and I am going to answer all your questions that you gave me on Instagram. Right, I am set up. I've got a Hazy Jane in this hand and my iPad with some screenshots of your questions in this. So let's get on with answering some of your questions. Get that out of my face first. So, Scouse LFC 1985. How do you train Blue so well? Honestly, the best behaved dog I've ever seen. He is pretty awesome, I've got to say. And to train a dog, you just need to put the time in, and ideally you want to put that time in when they're a puppy, because obviously young brains absorb a lot more and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks and all that. So yeah, from a puppy, just make sure that you're using the same commands, everyone in the family is doing the same, and you just spend the time to do it and just reinforce it constantly. So that's all it is. Collies are easy to train in the way that they are very intelligent, the most intelligent dog. But at the same time, if you don't stimulate a collie enough, then it'll go insane. It needs enough exercise and it needs to be given lots of commands and jobs to do, because otherwise they just go crazy. So they can be very, very hard work. So if you're getting a collie, just make sure that you are the sort of person that's going to get out and about and take it out running and things like that. Michael James, 75. Would you consider Blue to be your USP? It's all going to be about Blue, isn't it? He definitely is my USP. He's probably 90% of the channel. I just sort of turn up, film him, you know, make him look good and edit the videos behind the scenes. So yeah, he's awesome. Best companion to have out and about. I couldn't ask for a better dog. He's honestly incredible, and he's just down there chilling out, and he's just so easy because of obviously the training as well. That makes a dog a lot easier later on in life. So definitely, again, worth putting that time into training them. Cy Young, 1978. How are you doing, Cy? What's the most dangerous route you've done up any mountain, mate? Dangerous route. The thing is, I've done a lot of sort of off-piste stuff, so I'll probably say it's going to be, they're probably my top 10 things, the off-piste stuff. Because generally, if there's some sort of path or footpath, then it's fairly well established and you're okay to sort of make your way up there. But the off-piste stuff, you are just making it up as you go along. So there's been times when I've got to a point where I can't climb any further and I've had to go back. So I'll probably say that's probably the most dangerous things, just some random place. Probably in the Lake District, I would say. Although I did run up Snowdon once and I found myself in a bit of a tough place going up there as well. So anyway, Jackie S, UK. Would you ever hang glide from a high point in the UK or anywhere in the world? Yeah, I'd hang glide. Dead easy. I'm not worried about that at all. I would thoroughly enjoy it. Having the view of a bird, just chilling out and just taking in all the scenery, I think it'd be fantastic. So I love being on top of a mountain because you get that same feeling, but to be able to fly above that mountain, next level stuff is that. So yeah, I'd love it. The Wubba Duck. What a name, mate. Love it. Where is the best place to get started in the great outdoors? I live near the lakes and Snowdonia. Wow, you've got a big house, mate. Bridging quite a long gap there. The best place to get started, outside your door. Just get outside your door and shut the door behind you, and that's it. As soon as you've done that, you're out there and you can head anywhere, and the hardest part is done. I always say to people, it's 80% of it, getting yourself out and planning it and walking out the door, and once you're there, it's easy. The rest of it's just easy going because you're just in it and you enjoy it and you feel alive, and yeah, just brilliant. So there you go. TS Impeccable Music. Do you have a day job still? Tricky one. So I am trying to make sure that I can get to the point where I'm doing YouTube full time. So for the last few months, I've not really taken a job on because my jobs generally are sort of a month to 5 months long, something like that. And if I commit something, I can't do YouTube because there's no chance at all I'll be able to do work full time and do YouTube, because YouTube takes up a massive amount of my time, and I really do struggle if I've got any sort of work on as well. So I'm trying to do it now full time, but I'm currently bleeding, completely bleeding. I've had a little bit of money that in my sort of bank that I've sort of slowly worked my way through because I'm not getting enough income from it to pay for my life. And I've got a simple life. It's quite a frugal life. You know, I've got a home to sort of maintain and keep up and all that, and bills, mortgage, all that. But the rest of it, I don't have any sort of luxuries in life. So yeah, I just need to work a bit harder on the YouTube thing and get more watches and obviously subscribers and everything like that. So make sure, as I said, give it a like because it does make a difference. I need to get my videos promoted further in YouTube so I'm getting more watches. That's the key to it, I think. So if you could help me out by doing that, it'll be greatly appreciated. Andy Ty 97. As the weather's getting colder, best budget 4-season sleeping bags and sleep systems, please. Budget. See, the problem is when you use the word budget, often it isn't good enough, especially for thinking about cold conditions and winter climates. So I would, if possible, buy a really good sleeping mat, because you lose your heat through your body laid on the ground on a crappy mat if it's got a really bad R value. So the best mat that I would advise for anybody to buy, I would say, is the Thermarest X-Therm, just purely because it's comfortable, it packs away pretty small, and it will do you for all round season. It is expensive, but you'll only buy one, so that's what I would say. Definitely go for that. And sleeping bag wise, I generally would go for a down sleeping bag. I wouldn't really waste my money on something that isn't down unless you're happy carrying it, because usually the bulk, they're just massive, that's all. They're generally cheaper, but again, I would spend the money. So the word budget is an awkward one when it comes to 4-season camping. Pani T. Simonos. Was blue always good around sheep? My GSD is class, but I have to get him on a lead for that. GSD, so that's an initial for some sort of dog. I don't know what it'd be. Yeah, blue's been brilliant around sheep, but I've trained him from day one, so like I've made sure that I have a command if he's doing something that I don't want him to do, and that command is no. So I will shout no to him regardless of what it is. So if he is potentially wanting to chase a sheep or something like that, then I would shout no, and he would know that he would have to stop what he was doing. So I've always had control of him over that. My dad's done more actual training with him to do with the sheep, so now he can round sheep up, so he knows commands to go, you know, left and right round the actual sheep, you know, walking them on, things like that. And obviously he knows commands like to lie down and everything. So yeah, he's always been pretty good just because we trained him well. Outdoor Adventures Tom. Would you consider doing a collab with a small YouTuber? Of course I would, mate. I'm guessing you have a YouTube channel and that's why you're asking. Yeah, I'm happy to go out with anyone really camping. Obviously, I get asked quite a lot to go out and do different camps. It's trying to sort of line up time with people sometimes. There's certain people that I've nearly arranged camps with but not quite got them sorted yet. So you know who you are, and we will be definitely on it at some point. So yeah, it's just a case of, I don't know, meeting people that are on the same sort of page as you, that you're going to get on with, and I am happy to go out with anyone, and I love meeting people. So yeah, not a problem at all, mate. Don't think I'm some sort of like up there above other people, because there's no chance at all. I am literally just rock bottom, happy person, and just want to be around happy, positive people. So there you go. Darren H74. Let's have a drink first. Oh, that is nice. If you could only have one tent for you and Blue, what would it be? One tent. yeah, the thing is, tents suit conditions. So, and places you go and the weight they've got, so depending on how far you're walking and all that. So there's lots of different tents that suit different, obviously, yeah, conditions of whatever you're doing. So one would be hard to choose. It'd have to be a 2-man, I think, just to give you the space. Although the Fjällräven Abisko Light 1 has done me well in winter as well. It's just big enough to fit Blue in and myself. But I think really I'd go for something a little bit bigger. So I've been using the Starlight 1 by Terra Nova. I've thoroughly enjoyed that tent. It's big enough to fit Blue in the porch, but it's not really big enough overall to spend a couple of nights in. Great for, you know, single nights out and just lightweight camping. But they've got a bigger tent, the same sort of style. So maybe that one. I've not tried it yet, and hopefully I'll get one at some point to try, but I think the Terra Nova Starlight 2 might be a good shout. Wild Explorer, what's your fastest time for a 5k run? Fastest time. So going to my parkrun times, I generally run, I would say my times are 17 minutes to about 17:30. I'm about a minute off pace at the minute. I just did my local park run the other day and I did it in 18:12. But my fastest there is 16:57. It's not the flattest course, so on a flat course, when I'm fit, I think I'd probably be doing a sub 16:30, I reckon. But a little bit of training for that as well. So I am pretty fast, I guess, but there's always those people who can do 15 minutes and they're just unbelievable, really. A bit different build to me though, usually. They're always quite, like, really skinny on the upper body as well, and I've got a little bit more meat to me, I would say there. Elliot UH Official, would you do a fan meetup? Yes, I'd happily meet anyone, as I've just sort of said. I currently have already met up with my Patreon lot. There was about 12 people who turned up for that out of the 40 Patreon that I've got. I'm looking to build a Patreon to be a bigger sort of community as well, but we just had the most fantastic time. It was brilliant meeting those guys. Really nice set of people, and we just had a brilliant day. Went out for a really nice walk, took in the scenery, and made our way back to the pub and had a couple of pints, and a few people had some food as well. So yeah, it was brilliant to meet up like that. Would I do a general fan meetup? I'm going to say probably not, because, you know, you just don't know who's going to turn up and how many are going to turn up, and how do you organise that? Logistics of it would be quite difficult, and obviously insurance wise I don't think it would be beneficial to do it. So yeah, but I am always happy meeting people, that's the main thing. AG Beaumont, are you going to Kendal Mountain Festival? Have you ever thought of giving a lecture? Strangely enough, I am going to the Kendal Mountain Festival this time. I decided only a few days ago, so I just thought I'd sort of see what it was all about, because I've never been before. I entered myself in the trail race, I think it's classed as, so at least it'll give me something to look forward to, and obviously push myself hard for that. It'll be nice to sort of meet other people, do a bit of sort of networking, and just sort of see who else is there. Would I ever do a lecture? Well, this in front of the camera is sort of quite hard for me. I've always been really confident in life in every way, but I would never want to be on stage. It's just something that, I don't know, I'm just not that person. I don't want to be the centre of attention in that way. So I'd probably say no, but I would be happy writing it, but I don't know whether about performing it. You know, it's like I've got a guitar there. I'm happy playing and singing on my own, maybe to a couple of people that are close to me, but I would never stand up on a stage and play guitar and sing. Just no chance, just no chance at all. So yeah, even thought of it's making me feel a bit funny. Give me a drink. So he has got another question. What type of drone do you use, and how many near misses do you have? You're possibly going to get one. I've got the DJI Mini 2. How many near misses? Well, I've had many near misses. I try sort of push the boundaries of it, and I've crashed it a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4 times. Once it crashed, actually it went out of control for some reason. I don't even have a clue why. It just lost the plot and just carried on going, which was annoying because I broke that one totally, and that cost me another 530 quid to buy another one. So yeah, that was a bit of a cut to the budget, I would say, but yeah, decent drone. It just doesn't track you. It'd be ideal if it tracked you, that's all. Luke Cook 88. When is the next episode of the Yurt going to be filmed? I've struggled with that purely because it's finding the time to do all the YouTube thing, but then do projects or work in any way. And I think to finish it off, it's going to be a good solid week or so just to get it done. And a lot of it's sewing. I've got to sort of make some panels for the outside and sew all these sort of, I don't know, outer material for it. And obviously the roof system as well, that's going to be a bit of sewing as well. Excuse me. So yeah, I've sort of put it off and not really got round to it, but I will do at some point, and I'll have some sort of like opening and maybe invite a few people and just film that, you know, people enjoying a beer by the fire and cooking on that fire as well. Have you ever been to Arran? And this is from Alistair P. Tho. Have you ever been to Arran? I've not been to Arran, but I've recently been given a map of Arran. So what I'm going to do is try get myself there and maybe do some of the mountains there and just explore, because it's a pretty cool place apparently. There's lots to sort of see and explore, and I'd like to really kayak around the outside of it. I think that'd be pretty cool to do. You know, find some caves, all that, maybe pull my boat ashore, go off, do some wild camping, come back. So yeah, definitely a place I'd like to explore. Humble Leslie. How old is Blue? He's 6. So he must be coming up nearly 7. I'll have to ask my mum. She's the one who knows dates for everything. So yeah, but he's 6 currently. Sophie May Bell. What's your thoughts on the link between being outdoors and good mental health? I think that the outdoors should be prescribed by doctors for most things prior to giving any sort of drug, especially to do with mental health. I think it should be given as part of the schooling in everywhere in the world. I think schools should be allowed to take the kids outside whenever they want, rather than all the letters home and signing all these things to give permissions and everything. I think teachers should just be allowed to take them out and just have class outside, and from that point I just think that people will naturally become happier people. It is definitely a place, the outdoors, where it makes you happy. So yeah, massive link between the two, and we should all be doing more of it. Definitely grounding yourself, touching the earth, and just being part of it, because that's where we came from and this is where we should be, not wrapped in all this manufactured rubbish that we live in. A summit together. What is the scariest situation you have been in whilst camping, and why? Scariest. I don't really think I've ever had any moments of fear while camping. I'm not scared of anything like ghosts and ghouls that are out there at all. Not bothered at all about that. You know, weather can be a pain sometimes. It just makes it uncomfortable. I can't say I've ever been scared by it, but so no, I'm not really sure about that one. N7 Scott, Terminator or Terminator 2? Good question, mate. Got to say Terminator 2. When Terminator 2 came out, and I remember watching that, it was like being some sort of like tribesman who's never seen a television before, because the computer graphics in that, just how like the guy, you know, got like stabbed through his head and everything, and obviously he'd like melts his way back together, and then when he breaks down with the nitrogen, liquid nitrogen, and then again it's just like forming himself back together. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing, that. So Terminator 2. Sophie Maybell again, what motivates you to do the extreme camps on top of a mountain in a storm? I just love getting out. I love it. I love feeling alive in it all. I mean, it's raining now and I can hear the rain, and it's just got such a nice sort of therapeutic way of being, you know. It just massages you when you're out there, and even in the wildest of weathers, when your tent's sort of falling down around you, it's just lovely to be in it. You know, you just feel alive. That's all it is. So yeah, I'm not saying go out and do it, guys, because it's not for everyone. Codders94, what's your day job and what are your ambitions for YouTube and your personal brand? Well, my day job has always sort of, well, not always been, I used to be a personal trainer for quite a lot of years, and then I went into sort of building work. So I've worked building for, I don't know, self-employed for quite a lot of years now, and I've really enjoyed doing that. I love designing and making things, so that's generally what I've done. House refurbishments, kitchens, bathrooms, extensions, loft conversions, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I've really enjoyed doing all that. But I can't do that if I want to do YouTube, and I want to do YouTube. So again, this is why I need to build a channel, get more money through it, because currently I'm not getting enough. MXGJP, was an active lifestyle something you always had or found later in life? I've always been active completely. I started fell running as a kid. You know, we were out biking. Where I live in this tiny little village, you had to be active, otherwise you never saw anyone. You have to go out to see all your friends, so you'd be on your bikes, you'd run to people's houses. So we were out and about all the time as kids, and fell running obviously took me into a lot of mountain sort of areas. We used to go camping with my parents all the time. So yeah, outdoors has just been part of me. Village boy, and just living in it has just made me, it's like inside here it's country. And they're saying, it's like, I lived in London for a couple of years or so, and it's like you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. Luca Seddon _, what is an ideal weight of a full pack for a one night camp? Well, summer I would probably say between 6 and 12 kilos, and then winter, if you were maybe bivvying it or in a very lightweight tent, you could probably go down to maybe 10 kilos up to probably about 18 kilos. That's probably about the heaviest that I would ever really carry. Obviously, if you've got to carry water, that adds a lot to it, and these as well. Hiking Welsh Will, best tent you ever had? I've got to say, I've really enjoyed the Starlight one this summer. I don't know whether I could class it as the best tent I've had, but it's been pretty damn awesome. For one person, solo camping and lightweight camping, yeah, it's top notch, it really is. But come winter, I don't know what that'll be like. Obviously, when you are wet and you've got all your kit everywhere and you've got more kit, it would be better to have a bigger tent. So I think a bigger tent would be better for that. Maybe the Fjällräven Abisko Light 2, something along those lines. But tricky one that, because there's so many tents, and obviously they're all to suit different conditions. So Soul Ferret, I love ferrets. I was brought up with ferrets, you know. My dad always had them, so yeah. Done a lot of ferreting in our times, caught many a rabbit and had to eat many a rabbit because of it. You haven't had broccoli for your meals in recent videos. Is broccoli going to make a comeback? Of course it is, mate, yeah. I mean, I do enjoy broccoli. I love the fact you can eat it raw, and it does taste good. So yeah, just a great addition to any meal that you've got. So yes, of course, I'll be having more broccoli. BMT 1H0304, what's the best way you would recommend to prepare for a winter camp in snow? You just have to make sure you've got the right kit. So you've got to keep warm. Main thing, the thing that's going to kill you out there is hypothermia. So you need to make sure you're keeping warm. So decent sleeping mat, decent sleeping bag. Make sure you've got warm clothes to put on, and you can wear those in your sleeping bag just for added heat. I mean, obviously you need some decent sort of footwear that's going to suit the conditions. If you're going to be climbing and getting to the point where you need crampons, then obviously you need to take crampons with you. But generally, you know, you can get away with some just decent waterproof boots for most things. But obviously just take care out there. Do not be daft and just stay within your capabilities. That's what it's all about. There's no point pushing it if you are going to risk yourself, because, you know, for that little bit of pleasure you might get from being on top of a mountain could be a massive upset for yourself or for other members of your family. So yes, just take care, mate. Dylan Murr, consider doing a weekly live where you can ask you questions and send you cash. Well, I do lives already with my Patreon, so if you're happy about sending me some cash, you might as well just join the Patreon, so at least you can be part of that. Obviously there's other things that you can do as part of the Patreon. We've got a Facebook group set up, so it's nice for people sharing photos, asking a few questions, and you know, I'll get back to you if you're part of the Patreon more so than I do already. You know, and it's nice because we've already had a meetup, so hopefully we're going to have another meetup and possibly a camp, which would be great to do. So I am thinking about that one. Debs SJ78, does blue ever get cold? Yeah, obviously anybody or anything can get cold. He only gets cold if he's wet. If his fur's dry, in the UK it doesn't really get to that cold temperature wise. So to sort of -8, 9, 10, he's generally alright. You know, he's alright in walking. If he gets wet, then obviously that's what will take the heat away from your body, and that's the same for us as well. You know, up to 20 times faster heat will leave your body if you are wet compared to being dry. So this is the main thing about carrying waterproofs into the mountains. So again, for Blue, I've got a waterproof jacket for him, so you know, just stick that on and that will help. But he doesn't get to the point of shivering often. I mean, all dogs do. Often, a lot of dogs do a lot. He doesn't, but only occasionally. Mark Ventures, what was your first camping loadout? I would not have a clue. I know it would have been a lot heavier. Not a lot heavier, but definitely bulkier as well. I'm trying to think of the tents I've had. I did have this really good Van Gogh F10 tent. It was 2-man, but with all the snow skirts on and everything like that. But that was, I bet that's 4 kilos. So straight away, compared to most that you get nowadays that are like 1.5 to 2 kilos. So yeah, I couldn't tell you, mate. Sorry. PC bathrooms and tiling. Check them out. Bit of advertisement for you, mate. PC bathrooms and tiling. Your favourite place or camp spot in the lakes? Wow. There are so many amazing places to camp. And every time I go, I find new ones that I just think wow about. So, favourite place. I mean, the summit of Great End's pretty awesome. There's a few places you can pitch there which are decent and solid. Obviously, I did Storm Arwen up there. Where else? I mean, I've really enjoyed sort of the Beaufell area as well recently. That's been decent places. And to be fair, that last video I just did, which was Swirl How, that's a pretty good camp. And on the way up there, there's plenty of good places to pitch as well. So, yeah. Just the Lake District is just awesome. There's so many, and really don't follow other people and try copy what other people do. Just get yourself out and look yourself. There are so many places that nobody has ever pitched, like hundreds of thousands. So just, you know, make the effort to find your own, I would say. Any scary moments out camping, from Gaz Williams 92? Well, I've sort of just answered that. I'd say no. I've never really had many major issues. I've never sort of felt like something's going to harm me in any way. I've always sort of felt pretty much in control, so I've not really been scared as such yet. Well, I'll say yet, because there's always a chance, and you know, there is always risk when you're out there doing it. So yeah, Handmade web. Does Blue have a favourite place to explore? Probably his favourite place is Bitches on Heat. He's a proper lad, he really is. So apart from that, second to that, we're going to say probably the woods. He loves going through the woods because obviously there's, you know, holes and places to get sort of stuck into and everything, so he just loves all that. And obviously there's many a smell, and he can just sort of find himself on a scent of maybe a deer or something like that, and it's great for me because he sometimes will scare the deer and then I get to see them. So yeah, I'm going to say the woods. Mountain Madness 1998. What's your favourite ever wild camp? My favourite ever, very tricky, but I'm going to say when I was camping in the snow when I was tent bound for 2 days, 2 nights tent bound. It was epic. I absolutely loved it. I just felt that I was surviving. It's like I had to survive. There was no sort of way out of it, and I just really thoroughly enjoyed being there. And the times that we got out of the tent and just went for a run and just, you know, simple looking around in the whiteout conditions, it was just brilliant. I just felt like completely alone and in complete solitude, and the feeling I got from that was brilliant. So that one. Mountain Madness again. What do you think about Hilleberg tents? And also, can I have a shout out? You just had 2, mate. Shout out to Mountain Madness 1998. Hilleberg tents. Well, I've never had one. I feel they are very expensive, and that's why I've not had one, because I can't afford that sort of thing. Yes, I've got a lot of expensive gear, but 90% of it I have bought in a sale somewhere, so I've never paid full price. I often get stuff for 40%, 50% off, so that's why I've got a lot of my gear that is of good quality and expensive. If Hilleberg wanted to give me some tents to test, I don't think they would. I think they'd be scared to give me them because I feel they might not live up to the expectation of what everyone thinks Hilleberg tents are. So yeah, I'd like to have a go though, definitely. Just sort of, but I'd have to test them properly. I couldn't be faffing about just going, "Ooh, look at this tent," because they weigh too much to carry around usually, I would say. So yeah, I'm not a Hilleberg person myself. Dodis. If you've ever used earplugs while camping, which are the best and most comfortable ones? That's from Donna. I sometimes use earplugs, but generally I honestly could sleep on a washing line in a hurricane, so I don't really need them. I have occasionally put them in, and just for the sake of trying them, really, you know, maybe one in about 10 camps I'll do that, but I don't know anything about them. I just use those little squidgy ones that you'd get for, I don't know, working in some loud factory or something, and squidge them in, shove them in, and then they expand and just sort of block off the sound. And the good thing about those is, once they're inside, you can have your hat over the top of your ear and it's not going to sort of be in the way and hurt your ears or anything like that. So yeah. JB 19702018. Where's the best place to park when going to Scarfell Pike? Well, the shortest route is from Wasdale. That's the easiest way up. So I'd say Wasdale. There is the car park at Wasdale Head, and there is the car park that is the, what do you call it one? National Trust car park. So that's a pretty good shout there. So if you're a National Trust member, I would say park there. If you fancy a longer walk, then I would go from Seathwaite, because there is a few parking spaces along the side of the road there for free, but if they're all filled up, then what you can do is pay at the farm. They've got a massive field, and you can go and park there for, I don't know, 5 or 8 quid or something like that for the day. So definitely worth checking that out. But it's a longer route, a tougher route, and just make sure you check it out before you set off, because obviously you need to be up for the physicality of that one. So it's not that technical, but it's a lot harder than doing it from Wasdale. So Liam Taylor 90. What do you do about finding a place to park when while camping. So, parking, I just look on a map generally. I'll check out a map, look at where the parking spots are. I'll double check on, say, Google Maps and just see what there is. You sometimes can see laybys and things like that. And obviously, when you find a place to park, then you need to look at the routes from that point as well and just see if you can make a route up that will suit you for your adventure and camp out. So yeah, just a bit of research really. Tom Walls, hi Bushman, have you done any long distance hiking, running trails in the past? Not really. I've done some, but nothing major. I sort of feel that doing some things like the, I don't know, coast to coast and things like that, because it generally takes you quite a few days to do. I've had kids obviously for the last 17 years, and with that it's not often you can get the time to go off and, you know, take a week or 2 weeks or even 3 weeks to go do some sort of long adventure. So that's why I haven't done anything. My kids are getting to a point where they're more self-sufficient, so it's definitely going to open me up to have more time to do some more, you know, epic things along those lines. I would prefer to probably run things rather than walk, just because you can cover more distance and, I don't know, make a longer effort that's going to take you to, you know, further places away from the norm, which is, you know, the usual things like coast to coast and things like that. So hopefully I could do something a bit more interesting and challenging for myself, I would say. Board Games and Whiskey UK, cool name. How did you get into wild camping? What's the first step you took? Great channel. I don't know, I've always been into camping because as kids we went out every weekend to a fell race and we'd always camp. And prior to that as well, when we were kids, we'd go to Scotland camping. These were always our holidays. So we had those tents that were like, you know, when you get those, they're all like, my dad used to wrap insulation tape around, so you know that the blue went to the blue and the red went to the red and all that. And these big sort of metal frame tents with a big canvas over the top. So yeah, that was our camping as kids. So for you hardcore followers that still haven't fallen asleep, the next part of this video will be here. And if it isn't here, it will be out in a few days, so keep your eyes and ears open. In the meantime, why don't you watch this video where I'm trapped on a mountain for 2 nights in a snowstorm. It is epic. We'll see you next time.